First at 4, we've hit an important COVID milestone in Michigan. How the rules are changing and your daily routines could be affected. Also, 1 student stabbed, 1 arrested. We're tracking the investigation surrounding this Macomb County school. And here's Ben.
Karen, it seems like it took forever to get temperatures into the 70s, but the weather that we've got right now will seem cool compared to what's ahead. We'll look at the heat that is inbound. Paula?
As workers prepare to return to the physical work environment, human resources offices are buckling up for a bumpy ride.
It really changes the dynamic of corporate America.
The important shift in what constitutes mental health in the workplace.
Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit. Local news First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Karen Drew. First at 4, an East Point High School student is hospitalized after a stabbing attack inside a classroom. This happened about 10 this morning at the school located near East 9 Mile. Police say a 15-year-old boy was stabbed several times in the upper body. He is in stable condition at this hour. A 15-year-old boy is in custody. Officers recovered a knife at the scene. Tonight at 5, more on what comes next in this case, plus community reaction to the attack. Michigan is taking a big step toward a post-COVID reality as we hit the first big milestone set by Governor Whitmer. Starting today, rules are being relaxed. There will be no capacity limits for outdoor gatherings. 50% capacity limits will be allowed for indoor gatherings. The curfew on Michigan restaurants and bars will also be lifted. It's all leading up to almost all restrictions being lifted on July 1st. Business editor Rod Maloney tracking the impact and the challenges facing restaurants and bars.
Well, good afternoon. We're here in Roseville at the Hopscotch and Bourbon restaurant. Now, you might think that in the situation we're in, where the governor's rules take a lot of the wrappers off of restaurants, that they'd be open and packed. And then again, you'd think not, because here at Hopscotch and Bourbon, they've had to close on Mondays and Tuesdays as a result of COVID. And they're remaining that way. And in fact, we're finding that many restaurants are not going to be ramping up to full service anytime soon. And there are a number of reasons for that. And we're going to explore that. We're going to explore the restaurant situation here at Hopscotch and Bourbon's. And then we'll be talking to a bar owner later at 6 o'clock. So stick with us to find out all of the things that are going on the ground as it pertains to the new rules for restaurants and bars. In Roseville, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
All right, Rod. Meantime, Michigan is reporting 862 new cases of COVID-19 over the last 3 days. That's an average of about 287 a day, and that is trending down from last week. We do have to wait, of course, 2 or 3 weeks to see if there's any spike connected to the long holiday weekend. State also reported 13 additional deaths in the last 3 days. The total now is more than 19,000 in Michigan since the pandemic began. Detroit's police department has a new top cop. James White is now the interim chief as James Craig's retirement went into effect at midnight. White will be running the department and competing in the national search for a permanent replacement. We'll be sitting down with the interim chief later today to talk about his priorities moving forward, and you'll hear that conversation when you join us at 5. Memorial Day weekend got off to a rough start, but now we are in a streak of some very comfortable weather. So can we keep it going? Here's Ben Bailey with our first forecast. Hey, Ben.
Hey, Karen. Yeah, the AC is going to definitely be needed towards the back end of the forecast. But right now, we've got some of the most pleasant temperatures and conditions that we're going to see. Mid-70s out there, not much of a breeze. Humidity is not a problem. And the skies are dry, probably a little bit more cloud cover than a lot of folks would like to see, but we will change that. There's a lot of sunshine coming down the road. 70s through 8 o'clock. We'll be in the 60s here late evening through midnight tonight, and again, very pleasant conditions. But our next round of rain is starting to get going here over the Ohio Valley. That's going to be here tomorrow, but it is going to be our only measurable rain that we will see in the entire forecast. So we'll look at just how dry things are going to get and how hot they will be as well in just a few minutes. Karen.
All right, thank you, Ben. President Joe Biden shining the brightest public spotlight on a race massacre that has been largely hidden for 100 years. At this hour, he's in Tulsa, Oklahoma for a somber salute to victims, survivors, and those who still bear the scars of a horrible chapter in American history. Devin Scillian following the president's arrival. Devin.
Yeah, Karen, this is the first time ever a president is going to Tulsa to meet with survivors and members of the community to talk about that 1921 Tulsa massacre. If you don't know the story, in the early 1900s, Tulsa's Greenwood district was known as Black Wall Street, with its own bustling business district. But a white mob descended on the area in the evening of May 31st after a young black man was accused of assaulting a white woman. The mob shot black people indiscriminately and burned thousands of homes and businesses, along with churches and schools. The chaos came to an end June 1st, 1921, but no one was ever held accountable for the murders or the violence. Well, in the past hour, President Biden has arrived in Tulsa and has been touring the Greenwood district. He's also meeting privately with survivors, family members of those who were in the massacre. They are more than 100 years old, some of them, and have said that the memories still haunt them. One member of Tulsa City Council explains what she's hoping for from the president.
These things are not forgotten, that they are not hidden. Like it has been in Tulsa. You know, I grew up here, born and raised my entire life, and I was an adult before I knew about it. Was not taught in Tulsa public schools, sadly. But please just do not forget and make reparations.
President Biden about to make some comments. While he's not expected to speak directly to reparations, he is expected to announce new actions to reduce the racial wealth gap in America. We'll bring you that part of the story as we continue our coverage coming up at 5. Karen, back to you.
All right, thank you, Devin. Well, you don't have to be a sports fan to be talking about tennis champion Naomi Osaka going public with her struggles with depression and anxiety. Today, there's new reaction from the leaders of the world's 4 biggest tennis tournaments. Osaka dropped out of the French Open after refusing to do post-match news conferences. She made a very public plea to change how things are done. Today, the Grand Slam leaders released a statement saying, in part, mental health is a very challenging issue which deserves our utmost attention. We commend Naomi for sharing in her own words the pressures and anxieties she is feeling, and we empathize with the unique pressures tennis players may face. Those Grand Slam directors are promising to address players' concerns. Osaka's plea for better mental health support comes as millions of Americans head back to work after a very traumatic 15 months. Today, we find out the definition of mental health is changing in the workplace in a post-COVID world. Paula Tutman has been talking to experts, joins us now. Paula, give us a snapshot. What are they already seeing? Because I know some folks obviously have been already returning to work.
Yeah, they really have. And what they're really looking at is this shared experience we've all had with COVID-19 and how it's changed the way perhaps we view the world and the way we view ourselves in the world. And what I'm hearing is that also changes the definition of what mental health can be considered in the workplace. As workers prepare to return to the physical workplace, employee assistance programs are already reporting a boon in contact.
For the first time, we're seeing an uptick. Now, you know, if you only saw maybe 3 or 4 a year and that upticks to 2025, that's huge. I will tell you that most of my education for my credits, for my certification have been through remote and webinars. And there has not been one session that I've attended where we did not speak about mental health. And if that doesn't wake some people up, it should.
Not everyone is in a position to quit a job, and so those anxieties travel with us. And when discussing mental health issues, the definition is changing in the workplace. Debbie Ritter is a human resources and benefits expert for UHY Consultants, and Cynthia Reynolds is a certified mental health professional and executive director of First Family Counseling in Bingham Farms.
We as a society have always focused on, you know, the basics, anxiety, depression, like you said, bipolar disorder, but it's always been a continuum.
It's not your ADHD or you need some diagnosis of something. It's not about depression necessarily. And I think that's where I come from in the safety part. I think, you know, overwhelming anxiety, those are things that I hope will send people to speak to someone.
And that's why, as the rapid change in guidance surrounding COVID outpaces the emotional comfort of where workers have been physically and emotionally for the last 15 months, it will be important to acknowledge and proactively navigate the real pressure points of mental health, diagnosed or not.
Everybody's at a different level now of what their comfort. Everyone is learning, including the bosses and the people in charge. So we have to be more understanding and compassionate about that.
Yeah, and what's also really important is for peers, employees to understand mental health as well as mental illnesses and what those thresholds are. It's not just an HR thing and it's not just a boss thing. It really is, and not just about tolerance, but acceptance of people's comfort levels and, Karen, their anxiety levels that will help this reentry be a little easier, particularly for people who are suffering with mental illness or mental health issues.
It is a very real thing, that is for sure. All right, thank you, Paula, for the insight. We appreciate it. Tomorrow morning, Dr. McGeorge reveals how 4 U of M alums have created an app to help improve mental health. Find out how it works when you join us tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. Still ahead, first at 4, can you spot fake news when you see it? New research could make you think twice about how you answer the question. The video is haunting, but will it be enough to help catch those responsible for a mass shooting? We're following the investigation. Up first, just last month, it was a major gas pipeline. Now we're tracking a cyber attack on another company that feeds millions of people. The story and the impact right after the break.
Tomorrow, Dr. McGeorge reveals how 4 U of M alums have created an app to help increase mental health. Find out how it works tomorrow on Local 4 News Today.